Good morning. Let's start with a feeling of circling. So start with the nose, like you're drawing a circle on the wall in front of you. And do feel free to pause at any point you think, oh, that's a little bit gnarly. I'll just hang out there for a little bit. Otherwise, just taking the head in a big circle. Your pace, keeping the same direction initially. We will be adding on the arms, so engaging more of the body. Make sure you go a pace where you're not going to get dizzy. So if you're ready with the arms, we can float them all the way to the side, where you reach for the side wall as the heads drop into the side, then up to the ceiling. If your head's okay, happy with this, dropping the head back, dropping the head to the left, the arms reaching for the side wall, and then reaching for the floor, chin to chest. Let's have one another like that in this direction. Reaching, stretching, all the way over and to the floor. So at this point, we're only stretching the thoracic spine, the upper back, and then let's take it the other way. So first of all, the nose, drawing those circles, just feeling for any crackles and pops in the neck, and being patient and soft with the movement. And whenever you feel you're ready, we can add on the arms. So that ear to shoulder, the stretch across the body. Feel that around the shoulder blades. Feel here as you reach up to the ceiling that your head, your ribs, your pelvis even are lifting away from the thigh bones before melting to the other side, but with a little bit of a strength in that stretch. And reaching for the floor, chin to chest. Let's have another one in this direction. Fabulous, lovely. And then let's separate the legs a little bit wider. Turn the toes out, and we'll bend the knee of one leg so that the knee's over the toes, straighten up another side. Nice inner thigh stretch, waking up the hips. Once more each side, and then we'll take the hips in that circular hula hoop shape. Give your knees a rub if they feel a little bit clicky. And then keeping the legs wide, feet slightly turned out, let's circle the hips. Helping to increase the stretch if you feel you've got scope, otherwise just finding a nice flowing movement, or looking for a flowing movement if it doesn't flow today, and in the other direction. Nice stretch all the way around the hip. Last time in this direction. And then coming back to hip distance apart with the feet. Just take the knees in a circular movement over the feet. Hold the knees if that feels more supportive. The feet stay on the floor. Just keep the feet imprinted. And the other way with the knees. Then we'll move on to the toes. Right, waiting to the left foot, let's circle the right ankle. Let's use the toes for this first couple of rounds. And the other way. Tummy bottom back to the spine. Hold the wall if you need to for support. And then try to let the ankle, without movement in the toes, let the ankle explore the ankle joint. Sometimes a lot smoother. And the other way. If you can, keep the weight into that standing leg and shake out from the hip. Great, other side. Let's start with a big movement using the toes, exploring the ankle joint, feeling air between the toes, and the other way. See if you can now let the toes hang and just let the foot flow around the joint. And the other way. We'll take a little twist for the spine, so legs wide. Start with the arms high. Be prepared to lift the back heel. We want to twist the knee and just get a nice sway, feeling where you're stretching in the spine as the arms lower down. And then up again with the arms. Spiraling high to low. And then we're working specifically with the shoulders. So when you're ready, we're going to keep the legs out wide because we're coming into a goddess squat. So let's just check form that when you bend the knees aren't drooping forward. So nice inner thigh stretch. Get that working through the thighs. So the knees as if they're trying to reach and bend over the little toe, but still pressing the big toe down. Now, that's with the legs. Let's lift the arms out wide. Reach for the side walls. Like you're pulling the arms out of the sockets, and then plug the arms into the sockets and feel the shoulder blades come together. Again, reach wide. Spread the fingers, and then into the socket. Great. Bring the arms forwards and back. Add on a bend in the knees, coming forwards as you bend, keeping the spine long, and then bringing the arms back. Twice more. Now we're going to do a strengthen of the arms. So if there's any niggles in the shoulders, it's nice to actually support the arms and hold the shoulders. So if there's any pull on any of the tendons, you can usually make a nice smooth movement by squeezing the shoulders. All right, with the arms out wide if your shoulders are fine, otherwise holding the shoulders, come down into your goddess squat, tilt the pelvis under so we have a long spine. Draw your front ribs together, chin into the neck, either arms long or holding, and we're going to circle. So when you're ready, let's have the palms facing down. Plug the arms into the sockets and we circle, 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 circle. Let's go for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Change the direction and press into the feet. 10, 9, 8, rising up through the feet, the legs. 3, 2, 1, palms facing forwards. Have a shrug out at any point if you need to. Palms are facing forward, same thing. Circling for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Reverse, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Are you groaning? Have a shake out if you need to. Palms facing upwards. Squeeze the glutes, tilt the pelvis. And 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Reverse, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Straight, shrug out the shoulders. Let's just circle the shoulders forwards, up, and shoulders back and down. Turn the head side to side as you do so. Wonderful. One more shrug of the shoulders. And I'm going to change the camera because we're taking a roll down and we'll be mostly on the mat for the rest. So when you're ready, if you come to the back of your space, let's go straight into chin to chest, feet and hip distance apart, rolling down through the spine, articulation through the spine. Give the muscles time to lengthen, soften. Pause for that hamstring stretch. We're all in a ragdoll fold. Pause for a moment. Now bend your knees so your chest is on the thighs and place your hands under the toes and the ball of the foot. If you don't feel stable, that's fine. Create fists. And wherever your hands are, start to partially straighten the legs. And as if pull the arms, if your fists are on the floor, press down and forwards. If your hands are under your feet, straighten out. And as if pull the wrists, the fingers forwards and feel that release in the spine. Stretch to the back of the legs. Again, a couple of times here, bending and stretching, that pulling. Release out the head, and last time, and then we're pacing forwards to a plank. Remember with a plank, the knees can come to the floor. So wherever your hands are, release them. Pace the hands along the mat. Pause in a plank just to lengthen, firming up the thighs, the glutes. And then send the hips back to a down dog. Probably first of the day. So pedal it through from one foot to the other. Just enjoy the stretch of the back of the leg, the calf muscle. And breathe deeply in and out of the nose. Now, let's focus on the spine. If you bend the knees, find length in the spine. Sometimes swaying the hips side to side can help get a sense of length here. And then we're coming down, knees to the floor, and release the toes, take a child pose. We're going to link a couple of postures here. So hands are on the floor in this extended child pose position. Press down and as if claw the fingers towards your knees, draw your nose along the mat and come up to a cow pose. Arching the spine, that spine extension looking up. Next, tuck the toes under, press into the floor and send the hips back to a down dog. There are 3 postures we'll link, but always pausing to really feel the shape in each case. So from a down dog, we lower the heels, body weight comes forward, we release the toes, we look up, stretching the front of the body from the pubic bone up to the hairline. And take a child pose. Creep forwards to your cow, tuck the toes, take a down dog. Pause. Lower the knees and let's go straight to extended child pose, releasing the toes, sitting back on the heels. Feel the stretch in the body. Creep the nose along the mat, take a cow pose, look up. Toes tucked, take a down dog. Last couple of rounds of this, see if you can close your eyes. Down dog to extended child pose, knees lower. See if you can keep the knees ankles hip distance apart. We release the toes for child pose. As we come through cow pose, we can retuck the toes. So you see that the whole body's working here, flowing between these 3 positions: dog, child pose, cow. The toes, the knees, hips, the spine, shoulders, elbows, fingers, all the bones, joints in the fingers. Last time, cow, tuck the toes, dog. And then we're all going to join up on all 4s. Are you ready? Knees down. So we can release the toes, roll the shoulders back and down. We're going to take a knee lunge, step your right foot forwards, 90-degree angle. Hands on the hips, square the hips up to the front. Now, simply by tilting the pelvis and leaning forwards, we'll get kind of superficial stretch in the psoas major, but most of the hip flexors here will get a nice stretch. If we back off slightly, reach the arms overhead, take a deep breath in and feel the pelvis lifting, the ribs stretching up. We're actually now thinking about the psoas major, which goes a little bit further up the connection with the spine. Tilting the chest forward slightly, still reaching into the fingers. See if you can have a sense of drawing the hip points together so the lower abs pulled in. And now keeping a slight tilt in the pelvis, the pulling in the core, the reach of the fingertips up to the ceiling. Now add a little bit of a lunge. So we're getting a stretch not only in the hip flexors, but also into the torso. Now, one thing to know about the psoas major, well, it attaches your lower limbs right up to the lowest thoracic vertebra, is that we can really stretch when we come to the top of our inhalation. So as you breathe in, just think about lengthening all through the body, all the soft tissue, your diaphragm's lifting, your pelvic floor. As you breathe in, take another breath here just to enjoy that length and then melt the arms down other side. So obviously talking you through, kind of tricking you into holding that hip release for a little bit longer. So we're on the other side. just feel how we can superficially stretch, but that's not doing anything into the torso. This is just stretching the hip flexors, which is valuable in itself. But we're going to go for a deeper stretch that will involve more of the body. So we have got a tilt in the tailbone. We're reaching up through the fingers and feeling, we're drawing the skeleton up. Squeeze the glutes and slightly tilt the pelvis, but by leaning forward slightly, it's easier to get a sense of engaging those core muscles. Try to hold that core engagement and then find length. So then we can tilt the pelvis under and go for those hip flexor stretches, but now we're influencing further up. And the psoas major, if we don't take time to lengthen, to find release, end up with kind of an unevenness in the spine, lower back niggles, restricts our mobility. Those who do apanasana, knee into the chest, find it difficult, even sitting back in child pose. So the pelvis is tilted, you are getting a hip flexor stretch on the front of the thigh, but we're feeling that lift, particularly on the in-breath. Fingers reaching for the ceiling. If we think about the fingertips being linked, say, to the pelvic floor, feel that breath in and length, length, length. Last breath here, and then we're going to go on to a modified camel. So when you're ready, hands to the floor, step the knee back, tuck your toes under, and we're coming into this kneeling position. So make sure you've got padding for your knees. You can roll up your mat to double up if that feels nicer. All right. Now, with our camel pose or Strasana, we're just going to go for one side. So I want you to place one hand on the small of the back. So you almost feel you can lean on something, but we're going to keep the hips fairly far forward. Roll this front shoulder back and down. Look over your shoulder and see if you can see your heel. If you can take hold, great. But then we're going to squeeze the glutes, puff the chest out, and find a length in the spine. Now, this isn't about the hips lowering back. We're trying to keep the hips over the knees. Breathing deeply, squeezing the glutes. See if you can square up the hips to the front. If you're okay here, I'm going to get you to hold the back shoulder. Tip the elbow forwards and look down at the heel you're holding, and then breathe in and open, elbow diagonally, and stretch. Again, towards the floor, towards your heel, and open. So much of restrictions with camel are actually due to tightness in the chest. If this is overarching your spine, come out, take a child pose, and rejoin when you're ready. If your shoulder's feeling okay, let's take a nice big open movement with the back arm so that we're working in openness in the chest. Try to keep a squeeze in the glutes. And where I was saying about drawing the hip crests, the hip points together, try and keep that core engagement. Nice big movement, chest opening. Again, last time on this side. And then briefly take a child pose. If you can take the full camel, it's fine to not tuck your toes. I'm just tucking the toes so that we draw the heels a little bit closer and we have less far to go. Have a little rock on your heels, sitting with the hips swaying side to side. And when we sit on the other side, we're opening the other side of the chest. So when you're ready, we'll hold the back initially, tilt the pelvis, firm up the core muscles, and then we can reach back and see where the hand comes to. Maybe it comes to the heel, maybe we tuck the toes. Squeeze the glutes, and remember that length in the spine where we're thinking about lengthening through the psoas. Let's find that length. So that sometimes with a camel, I see people arching all the way back and think, oh my goodness, what are you doing to your back? Support your back for as long as you wish. We're doing just one side, so we've got the added bonus of that rotation in the spine. Now you can hold onto the heel or keep a hand on the hip, but we're working on a chest opening. You can start to circle the back arm away. Add in any movement for the head. You can let the head hang but no stress in the neck. Just feel an openness. Can we reach towards the heel that we're working towards and then diagonally open? Either holding the shoulder or stretching the arm out wide. Feeling that stretch in the chest. Squeeze between the shoulder blades. And the hip points pointing. They're pointing forwards, drawing them together, those core muscles. Last time, nice open chest. And then sit back in a child pose. Have a little rock side to side and feel heaviness in the body. Stack the hands, let the forehead rest down and let the whole body rest. Take 2 breaths there. And slowly, after those 2 breaths, no rush, we're taking a bridge. So when you're ready, we roll on to the back. Feet fairly near the bottom. Shoulders back and down, chin tucked. Now, no bells on, nothing fancy, just imprint the spine. Let's keep the knees, ankles in line with the hips and roll up through the spine. Now notice if you're someone whose knees tend to fall out, that's because most of us, not all of us, most of us would tend to have more tightness in the outer hips, and that draws the knees out. So let's be aware of that and keep the knees pointing forwards. We come through that lift in the spine and then slowly lowering down 1 vertebra at a time. Now, if this is just heavenly and you can feel the benefits, stick with the bridge. You can work with the breath. If you like breathing in to rise up, try to not lose the big toe here. That will help keep the knees tracking forwards, breathing out to lower down. Anyone who wants a little bit more of a challenge, come along on the ride with me. Place the weight into the right foot. Hover the left foot so it's just above the floor, just a centimetre. Check in with the hips, hands on the hips. Squeeze the glutes, tilt the pelvis, and we rise up. So here we're massively loading on to the hamstring, the glutes of that right leg. Come to your lift with 1 hovering leg. If you're okay here, the hovering leg, hold behind the thigh and draw the knee into the chest. Re-extend, hovering the leg and roll down through the spine. Holding on to the hips so that we have a sense of that level in the hips. Other side. So other foot, right foot hovering, imprint the spine, roll up through the spine, we keep the hips level. Spirit level across the hips. Come to a lift with the hips the same distance from the floor. If you're okay here, continue with that hovering leg all the way into the chest, drawing in, and then returning. Hips staying level, rolling down through the spine. Let's have 1 more set. Those who have been staying with the classic bridge might want to have a go at this now. So 1 leg, foot hovering, roll up through the spine. Feel how much harder that is on the hamstrings. Following through to draw the knee into the chest. Hips level. And that'll be the last time, other leg. And then we'll hug the knees into the chest, but it's fine to skip forwards to that point. So we feel the chest rising up to the chin as we roll up through the spine. Gaze up to the ceiling, don't compromise the neck with any turns unless you really need to check in, but then just go nice and gently. No jerking. You've done well. Hug the knees into the chest, have a little rock on the spine. Roll onto one side, hold the head or let the head rest, straighten out the legs as if we're going to do torpedo. Tuck the pelvis under, float your top leg up. Top fingertips can help you for support, and then we're circling. So as we did with the arms, we circle back for 10, 9, squeeze the glutes, 8, 7, stabilize the hips, 6, 5, core strong, 3, 2, 1, other direction. 10, 9, just circling the hip joint. Try to keep the rest of the body completely still. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last of all, lift. 10, 9, 8, squeeze the glutes. 7, 6, seated twist is going to be so yummy after this, you'll enjoy it. 4, 3, 2, 1, you did it. This top hip that we've been working, the foot we're placed on the outside of the lower knee for our seated twist. Hug the knee in. Don't forget with this stretch, you can always lower, straighten out that lower leg. Main thing is we're internally rotating this knee, hugging it into the chest and enjoying the stretch for the hip. You can use your knuckles to give it a little bit of a rub, and otherwise just hugging in and finding a nice stretch, release in the hip. We have, of course, to do the other side. Are you ready? Circles, 10 in each direction, and then leg raises, but then a nice release. Let's go. Near the end, torpedo set up, nice long straight line. Bottom tucked, ribs together, tummy button back to the spine, float the top leg up. Let's point the toes to keep the leg active. And when you're ready, we circle 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Other way, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Want to avoid momentum here. See if you could freeze at any point. Squeeze the glutes, the bottom's tilted. 2, 1, and leg raises. No rest, point the toes. And 10, 9, shoulders relaxed, no clenching the jaw. 7, not coming up too high. If you come up too high, you'll need to externally rotate the leg, which is fine, but then return. We're taking the leg directly out to the side. 4, 3, 2, 1. The leg starts to feel really heavy, doesn't it? Let's stretch out, swing the leg over and hug, release. Rocking gently side to side, you may be able to equally imprint both sit bones into the floor. Maybe lengthen the spine and start to draw the knee, so it's pointing up to the ceiling, into the chest rather than the chest rounding down over the thigh. Enjoy that length in the hip. Use your fingers to get in there. Self-massage really accelerates the release we can get in the muscles. Great, we're going to take a twist and a figure 4. I hate it, my goodness, 30 minutes, too short. Start by hugging the knees into the chest. Have a little rock on the spine so we're circling the base of the spine. And then with the arms out wide, drop the knees to one side. And we'll close the arms and clam open the arms. We're rolling on the back of the head, stretching the arms apart. Once more like this. Reaching across the body, arms stretching to the side walls, spinal twist. And then knees to the center. Drop over to the other side, arms out wide. And again, that full body clam. With the chest and the head, the arms reaching out wide. Slowly clam close and open for the last big wide wingspan stretch. And then coming center from knees into the chest, right ankle to left thigh. Now using the heels of the hands, we can press into the tops of the thighs, just by the crease of the tops of the legs, and gently waver side to side. Same leg, extend up to the ceiling, point and flex. Try and keep the shoulders down, chin tucks into the chest. Point and flex. Last thing, okay, let's take a figure 4 on the other side. Heel to opposite thigh. Use the heels of the hands to strengthen the arms, to get some release in the tops of the thighs. The leg that's on top, the corresponding heel of the hand, just can help externally rotate the hip. Gentle swaying, just coaxing a little bit of softening through the soft tissue, side to side, and last of all, extend the leg, point the toes, flex, squeeze the belly of the muscle if that's tight, point and flex. And that's it. Knees into the chest. You can stay and have a little rock on the spine for a bit longer if you have time. And otherwise, time for the rest of the day.